Hey, what's going on, guys? What's happening? Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Today, I want to talk about gold diggers and where gold diggers come from and how you might be inadvertently raising your child to be a gold digger. We're going to talk about what gold diggers are. We're going to give a specific definition. And then we're going to talk about the signs of gold diggers, what gold diggers go through, and where gold diggers come from. So get comfortable, buckle up, seatbelt. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm your friendly neighborhood finance professor. On the Black Financial Channel, we talk about Black wealth every single day, sometimes as much as 10 times a day, under one condition. The condition is that we are Black first. Black first means we put our community at the top of our priority list. Black first means we break generational curses. We do not continue them. Black first also means that we educate our kids. We teach them about wealth and economics at an early age. We are going to take the lead as a community when it comes to economics and education within the next 30 years, and we're going to get our families back. If you agree with this mission and this philosophy and this objective, put a hashtag B and the number one in the chat, hashtag B1, and everybody type the word gold digger, type gold digger in the chat. How many of y'all think you know what a gold digger is? Like, I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke. How many of you think that if I said the word gold digger, you kind of feel like you know what that means? Give me a yes or no in the chat. And why did this topic come up? Well, let's start with the definition, and then I'm going to kind of talk to you guys about that because I think it's really, really interesting, really fascinating. I watch those stupid, I don't watch them in detail, but every now and then I'll glance on one of those crazy reality shows. You know, those like Ballers' Wives or Real Housewives or Housewives of rich people and they're no longer married or whatever. And the wife's only claim to fame is that she was married to some guy who had money for a little while, and then he eventually went broke because his NFL contract ran out. And it's fascinating to me because if you may not know this, but the first book I ever wrote was called, well, actually the second book, first book I wrote was called Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About College. My second book was called What If George Bush Were a Black Man? My third book was called Financial Lovemaking. And when I wrote that book, Financial Lovemaking, I was really fascinated with love and money and how money shapes how we love each other. Money shapes who's attractive and who's not. Money shapes how people engage and whether a man feels like he's worthy or he's a high value man or if a woman feels like a man is a good man. I would hear people say stuff like I would hear women say, yeah, did you meet so-and-so's new boyfriend? And they were like, no. And they was like, oh, girl, he's a doctor. And then suddenly the fact that he's a doctor makes him attractive. And I would be like, what is it about being a doctor that just makes him a good catch? What if he's a doctor with 8 STDs? Or what if he's a doctor that's going to murder you in your sleep? Does that make him a good catch? Is he a good catch just because he's a doctor? And so this led me down this pathway to kind of think about things. And I watch things. I see money in everything. You know, that's the curse of kind of, studying money as much as I have. And I'm going to tell you this. So let's start with the definition. What is a gold digger? Well, if you look up the definition of a gold digger is basically described as a person. They typically a woman, but actually men can be gold diggers too. I'm going to talk about that too, where the person forms relationships with other people solely with the objective of getting access to their money. That's it. The guy with the money is handsome and the guy who's broke is ugly. Right? Now, here's the thing. Maybe because we live in a so-called allegedly modern society, gold diggers are not just women anymore. Gold diggers are men. You got the hobosexuals. Anybody meet the hobosexuals? The guys that'll go lay up with a woman so they can get access to her money. That happens a lot too. I have a friend in LA who says that there's a lot of really handsome men in LA who come and try to sleep on her couch. so they're good looking men, but they're looking for a place to shack up and rack up. And there are a lot of black women who are doing really well financially. So it's kind of reversed. They've really inverted your community by working so hard to destroy your men. And then they propped up your women. So your women have the money and the men end up feeling, like they're less than, which obviously money isn't what defines you as a man, but money's important. Having, resources, the ability to take care of your family, it matters to men. And maybe I'm old fashioned with it, but I would feel bad if I could not provide for my family. And in fact, the only reason my wife and I can be professional equals is because we took different paths to success. See, she went through a university. She fit right in. She's a high yellow black woman. She knows about light skin privilege, and she was able to get into spaces that I can't get into spaces. The university that my wife works at does not have one single African-American male employed on the faculty anywhere on that campus. Not one single African-American male. So basically, she was able to become a full professor of social work and rise all the way up that ladder. Me, I got into a fight with my university and they wanted me gone and I wanted to leave. So I went and started my own business. That's why I tell you guys that I believe all black men need to know how to start a business if you want to be economically free. If you're a black man and you can't start a business, then you're kind of in a tough spot because that white man's always going to be trying to tell you what to do. He's going to put his testicles on your forehead. He's going to treat you like you're a little boy. A lot of women have a hard time respecting a man that doesn't have resources, no matter what the situation is. Even if you have a good reason for not having a job, she is still biologically less attracted to you in many cases just because she's now got financial anxiety as a result of the fact that you can't provide. I know it's not politically correct to say it. I know we want to act like money doesn't matter. In fact, if my wife was here, she'd be like, no, Boyce, that's not always true. But no, I think it is. I really do. I think it matters. I think black money matters. All right. So here's the deal. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's how I talk about this topic. If you could do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, don't forget the All Black National Convention's happening October 28th through the 30th in Charlotte, North Carolina. So if you want to join us, just go to boycewatkins.com. You can get a pass there. You can become a vendor. You do a lot of stuff. We're having everything from panels on crypto and investing to politics. We're having a speed dating session. We have spades tournaments. It's a lot of fun. It's a great experience. You'll love it. All right. So anyway, here's what what led me to sort of do this conversation, this video. I wasn't planning on talking today, but sometimes when stuff hits my mind, I got to get it out before I forget it. When you think about a gold digger, here's what I see. I see gold diggers all the time. When I made my first $1 million, I suddenly became a very handsome man. Seriously, let's just lay it on the table. There's places I go now where the people part like the Red Sea. People asking to take pictures, getting autographs. Money is not a thing because I know how to make money. I'm an expert on money, right? So I noticed that I would attract, some attention, some interest, right? And what I would observe is that when you talk about the gold digger, the anatomy of the gold digger, a lot of people are judgmental. They're like, oh, you a gold digger, that's bad. And what's wrong with you? And I'm not saying that it's a good thing. Like I wouldn't date a gold digger. If my wife had been a gold digger, I wouldn't have married her. She had her own money when we got married. But I really became fascinated with that concept. I said, where do gold diggers come from? Now, let me give you some facts that I picked up along the way. Some of it's going to come from Dr. Boyce. Some of it's going to come from Uncle Boyce. Okay, give me permission. I hope it's okay if I tell you the raw truth based on what Dr. Boyce has seen and what Uncle Boyce has observed. So Dr. Boyce sees a gold digging mentality as the result of any kind of craving or deficiency that exists in your life. Think about it like this. When you wake up, you ever wake up one day and you say, I just want something sweet. I want a candy bar. Right. You want sugar or you want something sweet because your body has a deficiency somewhere. And it's saying to you, give me something sweet. Like a pregnant woman will say, for some reason, I really wanted pickles and cheeseburgers or I wanted pickles on my cheeseburger. I don't even like pickles. Right. Because her body was missing some sort of element, some sort of nutrient that the pickles and the cheeseburgers was going to fulfill for her. Right. So a lot of times when I see the gold digger, I see the person who says, I'm going to get money by any means necessary because I have a deficiency. What is that deficiency? Well, it might be something basic, like I got to get my bills paid. I got to take care of my kids. So I'm going to go sleep with this man, do what I got to do to get these bills paid. I don't think that makes you a bad person, to be honest with you. I really don't. I understand. I mean, I really think that generally speaking, if you look throughout history, all the 100,000 years of history, look throughout the animal kingdom, typically the males that have the most resources are the most attractive to the females, whether you're talking about giraffes in the jungle or people or Jewish people in Central Park. Like the males with the resources are the most attractive. It's just a reality, right? We stigmatize it. We say, oh, that's bad. That's so terrible. What's wrong with you? But to some extent, I have a friend from Africa. And her mindset is just like, why would you want to be married to a broke ass man? Like, she's like, no, why would that I'm not going to marry him. I'm not even going to find out if I think he's, but I'll say, well, what if he's a good man? Well, she's like, I don't even want to know if he's a good man or bad man if I know he's broke. Him being broke makes him ineligible to even compete for my attention. Like, she's like, why would I do that? Why would I want my children to starve, because I decided to fall in love with the wrong person? So it's not a bad thing, to be honest with you. I think that gold digging mindset comes from some sort of deficiency. A lot of young girls get out here and nobody's providing for them. Their daddy never left them an inheritance. Nobody left them an insurance policy. Nobody is providing for them resource-wise, financially, emotionally, or otherwise. So they have a deficiency. So they have to, in any psychology book, they will tell you that if you have a void, you can't move past the void. Nothing else matters without the void. If you are in a situation where you don't have food, water, and shelter, you can't focus on nothing else except getting food, water, and shelter. You can't be thinking about love. Who the hell's got time to think about love when your kids are starving? Give me a yes in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. Give me a yes in the chat. Like, if my kids are hungry and I'm hungry and we're about to get evicted, I ain't got time to fall in love with you. Ain't nothing going on right now but the rent, period. That is a natural mindset, right? And I know guys get mad about it. They're like, oh, these gold diggers, blah, blah. No, you got to pay the price of admission. Sometimes that's just life. That's how things work. But what I would say, though, is that if you have a daughter and you don't want your daughter to end up as a gold digger, how many of y'all got kids? Give me a yes in the chat if you got children, male or female. It doesn't have to just be daughters, but how many of y'all got kids and you're thinking about how to raise your kids and you don't want your kids to be gold diggers? Give me a yes if you have children and you don't want them out begging for money and doing crazy things for money, hoeing for money, begging, embarrassing themselves for money. Okay. If you don't want your child to be a gold digger, it's very basic. Fill the void. Just fill the damn void. This is the Dr. Boyce still talking, right? The Dr. Boyce says if you fill the economic void, again, 5 little basic things like the $5 a day investing plan. The ebook is free. You go to boycewatkins.com, you can find it, right? Little things like that will make sure that when you send your daughter out into the world, she's not being thrown out there without money, without cab fare to get home in case the guy puts her out of the car because he won't have sex, because she won't have sex with him. Right? Really, like, it's real simple. If you send your child in the world with resources, then they don't have to do desperate things in order to obtain resources. So even Tupac talked about, he said, for men, we don't necessarily become gold diggers. We don't necessarily get to the point where we're just selling sex for money. Maybe we'll go out and kill somebody for money. Maybe we'll go rob somebody for money. Well, because money, you're desperate for money. Well, Tupac even said it. Tupac talked about how he liked paying rent when the rent was due, because what he was basically saying was that when his money was right, he became a different person. He became financially secure. His financial anxiety was gone. So then he could actually become his truest best self. He could reach what Maslow refers to as self-actualization. You cannot actualize and become your best self unless you are secure in the things that matter. So when I see a gold digger, I see a little girl who had a void and she's looking for any pimp, player, hustler, gangster, thug with a couple dollars in his pocket, or exploitative millionaire with 10 STDs and a history of abuse to come along and fill that void, and she's willing to do anything in order to get that void filled. She's choosing men just because of money. And again, you got the male side of that, which is what I might call the hobosexual, who will go and do things horrible to women or lay up with some woman just because he's trying to get paid, or maybe will go commit a crime in order to get paid. Those are gold diggers too. We can become gold diggers too. We just dig for gold in different ways. We don't dig for gold by selling our bodies, but we might dig for gold by selling our freedom, where you went out here and got into some gangster shit and got locked up for the next 50 years because you wanted to go get $3,000. Okay, so anyway, do me a favor. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. I have to do the shout out. We always have a little shout out, so I hope you'll bear with me while I provide support for the people who are supporting the podcast. This shout out goes to Baybright. BaybrightBVE.com. BaybrightBVE.com is Baybright is an author, musician, an entrepreneur. He's the CEO of Bright Vision Entertainment and sells online products in the form of urban music, merch, and ebooks focused on love and relationships. All BVE products by Baybright are available at babebrightbve.com and all major online retailers. So what I'm gonna do is put Babe Bright's information on the screen so that everybody can see Babe Bright and go support this Black-owned business. If you want to have me shout out your business, you support us, we support you. Just go to drboycefinance.com and you can purchase a shout out if that's something that will help your business or help your brand or your platform get to the next level. So I'm gonna leave babebrightbve.com on the screen so that you can go support this Black-owned business. Thank you for your support. All right, so here's what the other thing that came to mind. So I told you that Dr. Boyce has some things to say about the gold digger thing, that it comes from a financial deficiency. When you are financially deficient, then what you have is not sufficient, which means that you're going to be efficient when it comes to going out and doing whatever you got to do in order to get what you need. If anybody in this room, think about this. If you were starving to death, would you not do whatever you had to do to get food in your stomach? If you were starving and you knew you were going to die, how many of y'all wouldn't either go out and get to thugging or rob a bank or sleep with somebody in order to the men y'all don't count because y'all probably give it up for free. But seriously though, like really when you're struggling, you are in a position where your lack of economic freedom takes away your personal freedom. You don't have the freedom and the luxury to have ethics and morals and these certain value systems that like, oh well, I don't want to sleep with anybody till marriage. Well, if you're starving to death, then maybe you're going to think about things differently, right? I'm not saying that you should. I'm just saying that that's life, right? So if you want to avoid making your kids into gold diggers, make sure you fill the void. So the Uncle Boyce in me steps in because when I see the female gold diggers in particular, I'm also seeing a missing fulfillment of the emotional void that typically comes from the father. I was watching, you know what? Shout out to Olivia Newton-John. Anybody old enough to remember Olivia Newton-John? She was in this movie called Grease back in the day. Olivia Newton-John was big in the 70s and the 80s. She just died at the age of 73. And I was watching a scene from the movie Grease because my wife was watching it with my girls and kind of showing them just, all the great stuff they missed from the 80s, right? And in the movie, there was a point where Olivia Newton-John's character goes up to John Travolta, their boyfriend, girlfriend. And he's like, Sandy. And she's like, Jimmy, whatever the hell his name was, right? And they're talking, right? And then because he wanted to play tough, like you got these, even white people have the manosphere where men try to act all macho when women are around or when other men are watching, so he starts dissing her. He's like, well, whatever, man, get on out of here, girl. I don't really like you that much, right? Because he's trying to play tough, right? He don't want to be called a simp, but really deep down, he really loves her, right? So if he was a confident man, he would just say it out loud, but because he don't want to appear to be simping, he kind of disses her and pushes her away. So she runs off, right? And she's crying and she's sad and she's like, and her friends are trying to console her. And you know what one of the ladies said to Olivia Newton-John's character? She said, these men, they're a bunch of crap. All you can depend on is your father. She said, the only man you can depend on is your father. And I said, I'll be goddamn. That was a time, this movie was made at a time where every girl damn near had a father. So that when she got into the world and certain needs were not being met in a positive way, she could turn to dad to fill some of that void. She could go get that unconditional love from this man who was there to protect her, provide for her, and to love her without trying to have sex with her. Now, I want you to contrast that with today. Most of these poor little girls ain't even got a father. Do you know how that hurts my heart so bad? It makes me really sad. How many of y'all got a daddy that you love and that was around and didn't go to prison? My daddy went to prison. But I had a stepfather, but he became my real father, right? But a lot of you have daddies, and that's a luxury that a lot of our young kids don't get anymore, and it makes me just crazy sad. But you want to look at where gold diggers come from? Well, if you're looking for a candidate for a female gold digger, it's the woman who has low self-esteem because she was never validated by a man who wasn't trying to have sex with her. And she also wasn't provided for financially or protected economically from all the beastly behavior that exists out in this world. There are men that will take advantage of women who are in a very weak and vulnerable position. So as a father, as a protector, my number one goal, my number one job is to make sure with my girls in my house, we talk all the time about life and about men and everything else. And we reiterate to them, both I do and their biological father, I'm the bonus dad. That is a pleasure for me. It is a joy for me. It is an honor for me to be their bonus dad. And we just let them know, we got your back. We got you back. You ain't never going to have to lay up with some raggedy ass piece of shit man because you can't pay the rent. I could buy that man's whole family if I wanted to. Your daddy and I we both are responsible, intelligent black men who manage our money and love our children, and we will make sure that you're good. So don't you worry about none of that. Whatever decision you make, whoever you choose to sleep with, whoever you choose to marry, you're going to choose them for some other reason. It ain't going to be because of money. So that is, in my view, the gold digger antidote. If gold digging is a disease, the antidote is strong protection from both parents, the father and the mother, not just the mother. The mothers matter. Mothers are very important, but the mothers can't be the fathers. The fathers can't be the mothers. These girls have to be protected when they go out into the world. If you don't protect them, then unfortunately very bad things happen to them. And I know we live in this world where we act like fathers don't matter and that families, broken families don't make a difference. No, it makes every bit of difference. It makes every bit of difference when I analyze what has gone on with the black community, why our wealth has continuously declined, why we have so much chaos. A lot of it is linked back to when Joe Biden and Bill Clinton with their crime bills busted up the black family, and the CIA dropped crack cocaine in black neighborhoods. And if you watch most of these reality TV shows that come on TV right now, you'll notice, pay attention to how many of those young people will tell you they had a mother who was on crack and a father who was locked up. Almost every damn near one of them. In fact, they did it so much. Biden did it to so many black families that literally you get to the point where you think if you ain't got a parent in prison, then you ain't black. If you ain't got a relative on drugs, then you ain't black. Am I telling the truth or am I telling the truth? Am I right or am I right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. We done got to the point where we have embraced the toxicity to the point where we think toxic is normal. We think that a busted up family with all kinds of trauma is the way you're supposed to live. Well, if you ain't got a trauma story, then you ain't keep it real. You ain't really gone through nothing. Let me tell you, like we literally will compete and trade trauma stories to see who went through the worst shit as a child. That ain't normal, man. That is not normal. Who was your protector? Who was the guardian that created a safe, stable space for the children? You know, who's going to do that? Who's going to take up the mantle for this? Who's going to decide to take responsibility for this? Because I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of celebrating the absolute worst in us. I'm tired of music that glorifies toxic behavior. You know, I'm sorry. There's some people, some celebrities, I know people love them or whatever, but I look at them as human beings and I say, man, you got 8 babies, mamas. You telling black people to throw their money away and get high on drugs all day. I can't be your friend. I don't care. You're not invited to the All Black National Convention because you're anti-black. In order to be invited, you got to be pro-black. You ain't pro-black if you're trying to get our kids on drugs. Those kids have a future where they could be anything they want. They could be as successful as we want them to be. They will rise to whatever level we push them to. And I'll be damned if you ain't trying to push them to the bottom. So why don't you go put on a robe and just join the Klan, because your raggedy ass is as anti-black as any racist white man I have ever seen in my life. You right up there with the lady who got Emmett Till killed. In terms of people that are destroying the community, I have no time for that. So long story short, that was my thought for today. I just had to share it. I didn't even plan on doing a podcast. We got other stuff going on today. I'm doing something with Rizza Islam and Maj Touré and Professor James Small a little bit later if you want to pop in. And then tonight we're doing Powernomics training, and that's totally free. So if you want to join any of that, just feel free to go to boycewatkins.com and you can sign up for free. But the last thing I want to do is I want to say thank you to Babe Wright, BVE. Babe Wright is an author, musician, and entrepreneur. He is the CEO of Bright Vision Entertainment. He sells online products in the form of urban music, merch, and ebooks focused on love and relationships. All BVE products by Babe Wright are available at BabeWrightBVE.com and all major online retailers. So if you could go and take a look at this Black-owned business, just take a look at this platform, see if you like anything there. I'd appreciate it. And if you want to sponsor a podcast and have me shout you out, you help us, you support us, we'll support you. Feel free to go to drboycefinance.com and you can set that up. All right. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for listening. I hope that this conversation helps you. And what I really want to do is encourage you to craft a vision for your future, and a vision for the future of your family, and a vision for the future of your community. I want to encourage you to understand that that vision is in your control, that there ain't no white man that can take that vision away from you. Ain't no raggedy Negro naysayer that can take that vision away from you unless you allow them to. There's nothing that can stop you from that vision, but you got to commit to it. You got to believe in it. You can't let nobody slow you down, and you got to go hard. And my vision, one of my visions, is that our children grow up in a space where they are protected economically and emotionally and otherwise, so that when they get older, they're not in a situation where somebody's going to be able to take advantage of them. Usually pimps take advantage of poor little girls because those poor little girls never had a daddy that did his motherfucking job. The daddy didn't do his job, so the pimp stepped in. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let my kids go get pimped. All right. And I don't want that to happen to you either. So give your children economic security so they don't have to become gold diggers, male or female. They should not be selling themselves in order to get money. But the only way they'll end up doing that is if you don't prepare something for them while they're young. Got it? Give me a yes in the chat if we can agree that that's what we're going to do. I don't care what the rest of the world is doing. I don't care what people down the street are doing. I don't care what people are doing on TV. Give me a yes in the chat if you're going to go in there and clean your house and take care of your family and do right by the people you care about. If you give me a yes in the chat, then we can go, because I need to get that verbal confirmation from everybody to know that this conversation was not in vain. This was right at my nap time, but I said the spirit was in me. I had to let it out, and I want to make sure that this was worth that time. Okay. All right. God bless you, everybody. It was great talking to you. I'm going to chime back in a little bit later. I got Professor James Small coming in with Rizza Islam, Maj Touré from Black Guns Matter. We're going to do a roundtable talk later on tonight. Dr. Claude Anderson will be joining us most likely. I think Dr. Anderson's going to be able to make it today. He's his health is, he's an older man now, but I think I got him able to come in tonight for the Dr. Boyce Book Club. We are studying Empowernomics every Wednesday night. It is completely free to the community. So if you'd like to join, just go to boycewatkins.com and you can find all of that in there. Or if you're on Instagram, you hit the link in the bio. So everybody, take care. Have a good day. It was great talking to you, and I will chime back in a little bit later. Be good. Peace.